Hi everyone, it's Adrienne. This is a closer up walkthrough of the Fever Tarot. There aren't many videos on this deck, so I thought it would be a fun one to do so you guys get to see the beautiful pictures depicted in the cards. This deck is based off of the Fever series written by Karen Marie Moning. It has a very sultry, seductive, fae, even dark goddess energy to it. And there are masculine and feminine archetypes in this deck, so I do love that there is a balance and even fluidity in between. So I was going to do the video starting off with me so I could show you how to shuffle the deck, but I'm not very tech savvy, so I don't know how to switch it from different angles. So how I shuffle the deck is that I shuffle it vertically. And the reason why I'm explaining how to shuffle it, I may do like a separate short video on this, is because this deck is very large. It's the size of a small novel. I'm not sure if that was what was intended, but I don't mind the size because I'm still capable of doing what I need to do with it. So I do have an example novel. And this is the size comparison. So pretty close. The deck is actually wider. I will be doing a number of videos on this deck because I really love it. I want to expand my knowledge on the deck and how I read with it, how it connects with me, because it connects with me on a number of levels. I say dark goddess energy because my matron goddess is the Morgan, and the Morgan is the dark goddess, and she's also the queen of the Fae. And there are different aspects of her because she is a triple goddess. So people may know her by different names, but overall I do feel like this is a great representation of the fairy realm and as well as the realm that we're in right now. So another reason why I wanted to do more videos on this deck is because I haven't read the series yet. I know that sounds terrible, but I just fell in love with the images that I wanted to work with the deck, and the deck is definitely workable with however you would like to read it. And there are different symbols that you can catch in this deck that are interpretations in the traditional Rider-Waite, in my opinion. But it does expand into different systems, and it does delve into more of a deeper consciousness in how you read it. Depending on you, it's going to be, I think, a great deck to work with if you're trying to know yourself. It is a very healing deck. It's a direct deck. It tells you things that you would like to hear, but also it tells you the truth too. And it does care about you in that way. It has a sense of love to it, and it has a sense of softness, but it's also firm. So I will be going through the deck. I hope that I wasn't talking too much, and I'm going to try to not get as much glare out of this because my room is very dim, so I had to get a lamp to show the cards too. So the back of the box is actually plain, but it is a good size box. So these cards aren't in order. I usually do the flip throughs for my cards out of order anyway, because a lot of the times I don't do all the cards for this video. I will, but sometimes you don't want to see them in order. It could feel repetitive, and other times, as I said, when I don't show all the cards, you don't get to see all the suits, or you don't get to see the majors or the minors or whatever, wherever they stop. So this is, well, I won't be reading this, but this is the back of the deck. The color scheme is beautiful too, and also back to my dark goddess. These are the colors that she would be represented by, at least the way that I represent her with. the colors that I represent her with, or how she calls to me. So some of these cards are in the series, and then I've heard, since this deck came out about, I believe it was last year, that they would be parts in the book that aren't yet shown yet, or that like they would be shown in the future novels. So I'll hold the cards up like this, so you may see a glare there, but then it won't be as glared. So I actually don't mind the seductiveness of it. I'm a pretty rated G person, so I think that it adds a sense of rawness. And I do love that in a deck, because it's more of authenticity. I love the ones that are taking place in a library too. I have a thing for libraries. I would like to have a library in my home one day. I think that would be my card for the day. And I'll do this card I'll talk about this card in another video, but this would be the one that would probably connect to me the most, and I'll briefly go through it in this one. How I felt really out of place, and I felt like my life wasn't really going anywhere. I moved from New Jersey to the New England area, and I'm out on my own while my parents moved in a different area that on the West Coast. So it says that I'm nobody multiple times, and that's how I was saying it in the car when I was talking to, I guess, it's kind of complicated, but my boyfriend, and I kept saying I'm a nobody, and this card just struck me, and it was like adding to the instant connection that I already had with it. This does come with an extra card, by the way. If you've watched the video where I showed this deck, then you may have heard that I blacked out the edges of it, so the sides, and the deck did not like that at all. Definitely an adverse reaction. This was the first card that I've ever gotten out of this deck, and some decks do greet me with that. The Lover's card, or the Queen of Swords, or the Justice card. Justice is my card technically. So I don't have the card in the deck because it doesn't feel right. So I'm glad I didn't edge out the other cards. I love the sense of what's lurking in the shadows, or being like on the move, or maybe on a hunt. They do talk about she-seers. Now, again, I haven't read the book, but I love that because you don't hear about them very often. This does take place in Dublin, from what I've heard, and I've always loved Ireland. All my best friends were Irish, or are Irish, and I have a close connection. My goddess is also from Ireland too, or derives. I love the pop of color. And for some reason, I think even though these aren't my favorite colors, the red and black and maybe the touch of white with different tones and different colors, or actually different effects that they put on these pictures, I do love the color scheme to this. I really find it evocative. And it does send a subliminal message, and it's more of an intense deck. But it's not very intense, but I think it's just the right amount. It's like you could take it seriously, but not too much. So that's another sense of balance. Despite aesthetically where it seems more darker, I tend to like darker decks. Anyway, I really like this Nine of Cups. And I love the simplicity of the symbols too. I do like these types of pictures. The effects that it has. Is it collage? Graphics? I'm not quite sure what it is. But it sends certain signals and interpretations, and your brain does react to it, and sometimes it sends you, it tries to link things together, which does add to the storyline of tarot when you're interpreting the cards as a reading. And you can even do that with one card too. So I do love the fantasy storytelling aspect that these cards carry. And I'm not sure if it's because it's from the origins are of the Fever series, but it could add to it, as well as it having its own flair. I get the Eight of Wands a lot too. This was one of those dream decks where it's fae and it takes place in Ireland, and it's dark, and it's, in a way, there's like a bit of gore there too, which I'm not too into, gory type of images, but again, just the right amount. And I really like this interpretation of the Queen of Cups. Because in a way, well, for me right now, maybe it's sending off, like, if you're talking about certain circumstances where this is all that you need, since it's more singular instead of seeing multiple women or multiple people in the Three of Cups that you would usually see. It's more direct, as I said. And I love the use of mirrors too. And again, with the sense of rawness, there's also a sense of being human. But then there's also, again, the fae aspect. And I definitely connect to that being a half fairy, half sea. And I do love the choice of the pentacles being so direct and being so in your face, because it's also a sense of strength, and it doesn't show that, again, I'm giving off that image of authenticity, that we're not afraid to show who we are, because a lot of the times people don't want to see the pentacles. And although in tarot there are like pentacles, to me it just seems like something that's so much more something that is us, or something that is more of a way of being or a way of life, or being who you are and not being afraid to show it. Because this one, they look like jewelry, and they are jewelry here, which can be interpreted in different ways. I love this Hierophant card too, because it looks like he's a priest. Oops, sorry. He looks like he's a priest, and then to me, with the rainbows, and probably there's a different interpretation because I haven't read the books, it reminds me of like maybe the LGBT community. And there's like, I can't think of the word for this, but it's coming out of his head, and I like how there's a flexibility to it. And maybe like acceptance or not acceptance. This Strength card is beautiful too. And it's interesting how it's in a Catholic church. I mean, I know that it's popular there, but with the strongness, I can't really think of another word, of the pentacles, I think that it's a good, I don't want to say balance, but there's another word that I can't think of. I love this High Priestess. And it does have a modern touch, as I said, with this deck. I'm sorry if I burped in like this video, because I don't know what's up with my with me, because I'm getting really burpy. Because I love the sense of that there's realness, but there's also a sense of fantasy too. And the last card. So I hope that you guys liked this walkthrough, and I hope that you liked the deck. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in another video. Bye.